This is lesson 3 from Morphology of Flowering Plants.
Hello learners, welcome back to the class. In this video, we are going to discuss about the shoot system. In the last two classes, we discussed about the root system. So from the root system, I think you have got some idea that how we are going to discuss the whole chapter. So at first, here comes the characteristics, then comes the parts, if there is such to be discussed, then comes the types, finally comes the modifications, which is a very important part of the chapter, and then comes the functions. So in case of the shoot system also, we are going to discuss in the same order. Now in the shoot system, let us first discuss with the stem. So stem, that is a very prominent part of the plant body, which is generally raised upward of the soil surface. So in this class, let's discuss what are the characteristics of the stem. Now, the first characteristic of the stem, as I have said, that it is the ascending portion or the upward portion of the plant body, which is aerial in function. That means they does all the important metabolic activities that a plant does. And this stem axis, it is born from the plumule of the embryo. As we know that the embryo, it bears the important tissues which forms the three important parts of the plant body. In case of root, we've already found that it was radicle. Now in case of the stem, that particular part from where the stem arises or it gets its origin, that is called as the plumule, which is generally present in the epicotyle region of the embryo. So that particular part, epicotyle, that means it is towards the upper part of the embryo. So here, that is the first point, that it is, in very simple words, it is the ascending axis or the upper portion of the plant body, which is formed from the plumule of the embryo. Now let's come to the second characteristics. In case of the second characteristics, it is about the physical appearance of the stem. Now how do we see a stem to be? So stems, we find in case of the angiosperms or the flowering plants, they may be of different types. So that I'll discuss later. But generally, the stems, they are erect in their appearance. So they are straight, they are erect, and the young stems, they are basically green in color. That means they can do photosynthesis and can prepare their own food. But gradually, the green stems, they becomes brown in nature because of the maturation of the tissues. So that is the second point. Then comes the third point, that the stem, it bears a terminal bud. Now what is a bud? Bud is the upper portion of the stem, which is the condensed part, and it bears the young leaves. So this upper compact part or the condensed part along with the stem, which bears the young leaves, that is called as the bud. So stem, it always bears a terminal bud through which the stem grows in its length. That means as the stem, it will go upward, the buds will come out, and these buds, it will give rise to the leaves or the other branchings in the later stages. So in very simple words, it says that the stem, it bears terminal buds, and they are generally positively phototropic and negatively geotropic. I think phototropic and geotropic, these two terms, it was discussed in case of the root system also, but it was the opposite of the stem. In case of root, it was positively geotropic and negatively phototropic. It means that the roots, they go towards gravity and away from sunlight. But in case of the stem, it goes towards sunlight. That means its movement of growth, that is generally towards light, and it goes away from gravity. That is why it is called to be positively phototropic and negatively geotropic. So that is another important point. Now let's come to the fourth point. The fourth point, and a very important one, that is that every stem, it bears nodes and internodes. Now what are these nodes and internodes? Nodes, these are some condensed part of tissue which gives rise to the leaves, or it gives rise to the branching of the stem. Nodes, they are just some condensed tissues. So while the chapter tissue is discussed, so you will come to know that what type of tissues are present in case of these nodes. But for now, just try to keep in mind that these are some condensed tissues which gives rise to the branches or the leaves, and they are found in patches in case of the stem. So the condensed part, that is called as the node, and the reason from one node to the other node. In the diagram, as you can see here, that the node, the reason from one node to the other node, so that whole portion, it is called as internode. So all the stem, they will always bears such nodes and the internodes, which is a very important characteristics of the stem. Then comes the next important characteristics. It is that the stem always bears lateral branches or leaves, and from these lateral branches comes out the flowers, fruits, etc. So that is another important point to be kept in mind, that they always bears lateral branches. So the whole branching of the stem, it takes place in case of the stem which holds the leaves, flowers, fruits, etc. And along with that, these branches, they are always exogenous in their origin. That means when we try to break a branch, say suppose we are trying to break a branch, so what will happen, that if it is a matured one, or the cells, it becomes matured, we can easily break that branch. That means it doesn't have its origin from the inner side of the plant body or from the inner side of the stem. It is attached to the plant body, that is there in the nodes from the outer side. Therefore, it is called to be exogenous. That means towards the outer side in its origin. To the branching, that is always exogenous in origin. Then come some other points, such as the stems, they also bears hairs. Hairs, they are found in case of some plants, mostly the ones such as cucurbita. Then there are many others which bears hairs, thorns, etc. And all these, they are multicellular in structure. So these are some basic characteristics of the stem. I hope you have understood the basic characteristics of the stem. And characteristic here, it means the physical appearance or the nature that the stems perform. Now let's come to the other part of the stem. Let's come to a very important point now, as we are discussing about the stem. Now we apply some words when we describe an angiospermic plant, such as we consider some to be herbs, some to be shrubs, and some to be trees. And along with these words, we also add another word such as annual, biennial, and perennial. Now what are these? So on the basis of the stem or the lifespan of the stem, these types of terms, these are applied to a angiospermic plant body. So here, on the basis of the strength, the height and the lifespan of the stem, the plant bodies, they are classified as herbs, shrubs and trees. Now what are herbs? Herbs are generally those plants which are non-woody in their stem nature, that they are non-woody. That means they are easily breakable or they are made up of soft tissues, and they do not attain a very greater height. So they are generally less than 2 meters. This type of plants are, say for example, rice, grass, then comes sugarcane, kanna. All these are called as herbs. Now next comes the other word, which is called the shrub. The shrubs, they are medium heighted plant. They are woody in nature, but their woody stem, it is found only towards the lower side, and towards the upper side, the apices or the apical portions, the tip portions, that is normally young or they are soft in nature. So but in towards the lower side of the plant body, that means towards the soil, they are generally woody in nature, and they are generally the medium heighted plants. So these are called as the shrubs. And the trees are those which attains a very greater height, and they are normally woody in nature. Now in case of the trees also, there are again different types based on the nature of the stem. So that is a different part again, but those who attains a greater height and they are the whole body, it is woody in nature, that is called as the trees. Now along with these three words, again we use these three words such as annual, biennial and perennial. What are these? So these annual, biennial and perennial, these words, these are applied for the lifespan of the plant body. Say for example, some plants, they live only for a particular period of time. Say for example, the rice. They are planted, say suppose from the month of July or August, and in the next December or November and December, they complete their life cycle. That means they flowers and they shed their seeds. So this is their whole lifetime, and afterwards they die. So such kind of plants are called as the annual plants. They grow only in a particular growing season, and in that particular growing season they completes their whole life cycle by shedding their seeds, and then they die. Then next comes the biennial one. Now some plants such as carrot, radish, brassica, so all these plants, they are grown in one particular season and they complete their life cycle in another season. That means they requires 2 seasons. So this is seasonal. So they requires 2 seasons to complete their whole life cycle. And such plants, these are called as biennial plants, as they requires 2 seasons to complete their life cycle. That is why they are called as the biennial plants. And the perennial ones are those which survives for many years and they continues to flower in their respective seasons. So for that we have to name all the major trees. So they flowers only in their particular flowering season, and in that way they continues their life cycle one season after the other. So for such kind of plants we apply the term perennial. So these are very important terms related to the stem, on the basis of which we name the different kind of angiospermic plant bodies. Now let's come to the types of stem. They are of 3 types: reduced, weak stem and the strong erect stem. Some plants, they have a very reduced shoot system, as for example carrot, radish, turnip, cabbage. All these have a very reduced stem part. That means we do not see much of the stem, and they are generally covered with leaves, and they store all the food towards the root system. So such kind of plants, they have a reduced one. That means we do not see much of their stem part in the whole shoot system. Then comes the weak stem. Now the weak stems are those who cannot grow erect. They will either twin, that means they will go spirally with the help of the support, and they will climb towards the upper part, or they can be the bitter leaf. Then comes the black pepper. So these are climbers, where the stem, it climbs with the help of the roots. Then some are crawlers. Say for example, in case of pumpkin, they generally crawls on the soil surface or grasses, or there are many plants like that they crawls. And some are woody, and these are called as lionesses. Lioness, they are woody in nature, but still they need support. The stems, it needs support for its growth in length. That means they do not have a much stronger stem, and therefore they need support to climb. As we know that the stem, it will always increase in their length, so they need support for that. And the strong stem, the strong stems, they are normally the one such as the bamboo stem. Then in case of the mango tree or the neem tree, but they have their different natures. So on the basis of their nature, the strong stems, they are also divided into some types, such as the culm, C-U-L-M, culm. Such stems, it is found in case of the bamboo, where the inner part, that is hollow, and the stem, that is slender in nature, and it grows just in length without much of branching pattern, as we find in case of the bamboos. Then comes decurrent one. In case of the decurrent one, so that we find in case of the mango tree or the neem tree, where the stem, it grows to a particular length, and after that they have a massive branching, and it takes the shape of an umbrella. So that is the decurrent one. Then comes the excurrent one. The excurrent, that is in case of the pine trees, or we find that in case of the deodar trees. In case of that, they grows their stem right from the base, and it takes the shape of a cone. That means as the stem, it grows in its length towards the upper part, we find the younger branches, and towards the lower part we find the older branches, and that is why it takes the shape of a cone. Such type of stem, or the erect stems, that is called as the excurrent one. And lastly comes the caudex. So caudex, it is found in case of the palm tree or betel nut tree. So all these are called as caudex, where they do not have much branching, but right at the tip, the leaves, they forms a crown. They are also the main stem, it just grows in length, and towards the apex or the tip of the stem, which grows in length, they have only the leafy branches that it possesses, as in case of the coconut tree, date palm, etc. So these are the different types of stems, and on the basis of that, the plant body, they are named in different forms. Now from this, now let's discuss about the modifications of the stem. So in case of modification of stem also, now the part of the stem, it will be named differently. Say for example, a part of the stem, it is always below the soil. On that note, that part, it will be called as the underground stem. Then towards the upper part, it will be called as the aerial stem. That means it is towards the upper part and it is free. That is the aerial stem. But some stems are there which
are formed just from the part which is above the ground, but not totally aerial in nature. So such kind of stems, it is called as the subaerial stem. Now on the basis of these three parts, we find the different modifications of the stem. So let's discuss about the modifications of stem now. And these modifications, as we know, that they have certain purposes, because not all plants they undergo such modification, but some plants they undergo modification, and the stem they do some special functions on the plant body. So on the basis of that, the modifications are discussed.